Well, good afternoon, everyone. Every year, the run-up to the Kentucky Derby is a time of enormous pride for our commonwealth. It's also a time to remember legends of the past and forge the horse racing heroes of the future. So today, in this atmosphere of reflection and also anticipation, I am proud to recognize two men who are truly trailblazing in the horse racing industry, Greg Harbert and Ray Daniels. Greg and Ray recently founded the Ed Brown Society. That is an organization that provides mentorship to the next generation of African Americans in the horse racing industry. The organization's specific focus is giving college-age ethnic minorities opportunities to take the reins of racetrack management and attorney work. The nonprofit Ed Brown Society is named after the legendary jockey Edward Dudley Brown. This Belmont Stakes-winning jockey overcame his start as an enslaved person to become a storied trainer and jockey in Kentucky's horse racing industry. The Ed Brown Society is an extension of the work Daniels and Harbert have already been doing in horse racing. Harbert is the founder of Livin' the Dream Horse Syndicate. This syndicate has facilitated the purchase of thoroughbreds for African American owners in recent years. And in 2020, Daniels and Harbert's horse, Necker Island, ran in the Kentucky Derby. This was a history-making event which brought African Americans back to the highest level of racing. See, in the 1800s and the 1900s, the majority of jockeys were African Americans. One prominent example, legendary jockey Isaac Murphy, who won the Kentucky Derby 3 times. Despite their centuries of contributions after World War I, African Americans were pushed out of the sport due to Jim Crow and racism. They were only hired as stable hands or support workers, despite building the foundation of this storied industry. Harbert's great-grandfather, Will Harbert, was the groom for Man o' War for 2 decades. Harbert's grandfather, Tom, was the stallion manager at Spendthrift Farm and co-owned a horse that ran in the 1962 Kentucky Derby. But despite being that owner, because he was African American, Tom Harbert was not allowed to sit in the grandstand on Derby Day to watch his own horse run. Harbert and Daniels are taking on the task of restoring the history and contribution of African Americans in the horse racing industry. Additionally, they are embracing the call to lift as they climb by making opportunities for more African Americans to be at the forefront of the sport. I can't imagine a better way to start Derby Week than ensuring Derby is truly available for everyone, and that we address and confront our past as it relates both to this and to other industries. So I'm proud today to introduce Ray Daniels, who's going to provide some comments, joined by Greg Harbert. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to thank the governor for this recognition, not only for Greg and I, but for Ed Brown Society and for our board members and our team. I also know that one person alone can't make the difference, and so I want to thank the governor's team of great people that have worked with us in the past, and we hope they continue to work with us in the future. Just a couple of remarks about Ed Brown Society as a whole and what we're trying to accomplish. In the context of what the governor said, we want to focus on the past, we want to focus on the present, and focus on the future. And in the past, we want to acknowledge, educate about the wonderful history of African Americans in horse racing in our great state in particular. And Ed Brown, being from our great state, it was an obvious choice for us to uplift his story, being sold on the steps of the Lexington Courthouse and making it to the elite levels of the Hall of Fame in our historic racing industry. No better person for us to uplift. So we want to bring recognition and acknowledge all the contributions early on by the African American community in horse racing and building this great industry that we have. Fast forward to the present day, we want to highlight and talk about the great jobs in the equine industry, the great mid-level management opportunities and jobs across the board, We want to educate folks about those opportunities. More importantly, we want people to be part of building the industry out to a new workforce and bring ownership into the equine industry, in particular here in Kentucky. So we've been successful in guiding 30 African Americans into horse ownership in the past few years. And we hope to guide another 30 or more in the next year. So that's a big part of our mission. And then lastly, to sum it all up, the future for us is to educate young folks and to make that reality of these opportunities in the industry happen and lead to jobs. We want to be a connector. We want to be able to connect with all of the folks that have these wonderful training programs, whether it be equine, veterinarian, management, it doesn't really matter. We want to be able to connect that to real jobs in all the industries that are available. And so we hope that, you know, the attention that this will bring across the board to this multi-billion-dollar industry will be that the African American community is watching, they're paying attention, they want to be involved, they want to be at the track, but they also want to be employed. And we hope that we can be a conduit for that opportunity. So once again, thank you.
Well, I want to thank Ray, and congratulations on being our newest member of the Horse Racing Commission. We appreciate you and look forward to your continued contributions. So today I will be signing a proclamation on this Monday of Derby Week. It says, whereas Edward Dudley Ed Brown was born into slavery in Kentucky, and through his tenacity and love of thoroughbred racing developed into one of the most accomplished African American horsemen in the history of the sport. And whereas as a child, Brown had a small stature but vast knowledge of horses, which afforded him the opportunity to become a jockey in his early teens. His career in the thoroughbred industry started at Woodburn Stud near Midway, Kentucky, where he trained as a horseman. Through his hard work, determination, and enthusiasm for racing, he became an accomplished jockey before working as one of the top trainers of the 19th century. And whereas Brown's most distinguished career highlights include 2 standout victories. He rode Kingfisher to win the 4th running of the Belmont Stakes in 1870 and led Baden as a trainer in 1877 to win the 3rd running of the Kentucky Derby. And whereas Brown started training for other owners and used his profits to build a quality racing stable that competed under the name Ed Brown and Company. Due to health issues, he retired in 1903 and died 3 years later in Louisville. Brown's important role in thoroughbred racing was confirmed with his 1984 induction into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame as a standout jockey and as one of the top trainers of the 19th century. And whereas Brown and his contributions to the thoroughbred industry are the inspiration behind the Ed Brown Society, established to celebrate the rich history of African Americans in the equine industry, as well as create opportunities for young black Kentuckians. The lack of diversity in positions of power within the equine industry serve as a potential barrier for growth. And whereas through partnerships with industry stakeholders and educational institutions, the Ed Brown Society has the opportunity to ensure the horse racing industry is well positioned culturally and economically to remove any barriers and create a stronger, more diverse pipeline of talent for the future. Now, therefore, I, Andy Beshear, Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, will in just a minute hereby proclaim April 25th through May 1st, 2021 as Ed Brown Society Week. Let's sign it. You ready?